Connor, every business owner I talk to thinks the phone problem is about missed calls. You've processed over 400 calls through Kai calls. What's the actual problem they're not seeing?
I think that when a lot of people think of AI calling, they think of missed calls, but I think that they're missing the scalability that it brings. So if you have tons of calls coming in and someone handling all of those calls, you want to scale, but
That's the Pittsburgh.
you might not be having enough to actually grow, or you might not bring in enough business to grow your business quite yet. So by adding an AI voice assistant, you can always take an intake and process calls faster, and then have human follow up.
Got it, but that's still like the surface level pitch. Let's go deeper. You've seen over 430 calls now. What's the actual bottleneck for growth? Is it just intake capacity, or is there something more nuanced happening? Give me a number or a pattern you've noticed.
It really just depends on the business type. Imagine you're an intake business and you need to process 1,000 calls. How many people do you need to process 1,000 calls and in concern at the same time, right? So like maybe it's 10 people, 20 people. With AI, you can scale that instantly.
Okay, so you're saying the bottleneck is the number of calls a business can handle before they hit a staffing wall. But let's get specific. Out of those 4,300 calls, what percentage do you see as routine, like scheduling or answering FAQs, versus high value, where a human really needs to jump in? How does that breakdown look?
I'd say 90% of them are just intake, very structured, very normal calls for following and getting information. Not a lot of people need to talk to a human quite yet, or they are just explaining and being qualified.
So 90% of calls are routine intake, structured, predictable, qualifying. That's a huge chunk, and those are perfect for AI. But let's talk about that other 10%. What makes a call high value? Can you give me examples of when a human needs to step in? And does that look different for, say, a tent rental company versus a law firm or a medical practice?
So it's generally when you're trying to close the sale or the deal or get the very specific information that a human will know. People still value human-to-human contact and touch. So I've seen a lot of people are fine talking to an AI to answer questions, but they're not as happy to close with the AI. That's a little bit harder. So when it's that time, having a human interject helps a lot.
That makes sense. AI handles the structure, but humans are still essential for closing and personal moments. But I want specifics. For a tent rental company, maybe the human steps in for pricing negotiations or event details. What about a law firm or a medical practice? Where does that human-AI split show up differently in those cases?
Anytime you need to make like real decisions about what's going on, then you definitely want to have human oversight. If you're having the AI go do outreach to collect information, that's fine. But you can't have an AI giving legal advice. You can't have the AI giving medical advice. And we actually put in safeguards to prevent that type of stuff because it shouldn't be and it can't be. You don't want to lead people astray, so you want to make sure that it's has a lot of grounding and room to be flexible, but not too far.
Got it. So for a law firm, AI might handle the intake, basic questions, scheduling consultations, but the moment it gets into legal advice or case details, the human takes over. Same for a medical practice. AI can help with appointment scheduling or FAQs, but diagnosis or treatment, that's strictly human territory. That split seems critical, and it's probably different for every industry. Let me ask you about the intelligence layer you mentioned earlier. When every call is transcribed, scored, and classified, businesses must learn things about their pipeline they never saw before. What kinds of patterns or insights have emerged from those 4,300 calls? Anything surprising?
So I think it's less about new things surfacing. It's more about how things can be processed faster because you now have transcripts coming in and recordings, you can have follow-ups happen a lot faster. You can have an AI have a proposal waiting in your inbox or a text message going out live on the call. You can have things being processed in real time or have secondary gates that'll be post-processing after the call that can be immediate, like sending out proposals, sending out emails, sending out slide decks, payment links, whatever you might need.
Interesting. So the real game changer isn't just the call handling, it's the speed and efficiency of follow-ups. With AI, proposals, emails, slide decks, payment links can be sent out in real time or immediately after the call. That's huge. It's like having a supercharged back office working 24/7. Let's shift to the tech side. Voice AI didn't work 2 years ago. What changed technically that makes this viable in 2026? From your builder's perspective, why does the conversation with AI feel different today than the IVR hell everyone remembers?
Latency and speed. So models still need to be smart enough to have a long conversation, but they need to be able to answer fast enough to get there in the latency.
The right balance between the intelligence of the model and its speed. The AI needs to be smart enough to handle a long conversation, but fast enough to respond without delays.
Correct.
That's what makes it feel natural.
Yep, pretty much.
Compared to the old idea. And what about the growth map? A business handling 200 calls a month with one person has a ceiling. What happens when they can handle 500 or even 1,000 calls without hiring more people? How does that change their pipeline and growth potential? What new challenges emerge when call capacity is no longer the constraint?
I still think you need to hire people. You're just hiring more closers than you are the front level receptionists. It allows you to maybe scale up your ad campaigns, scale up whatever campaigns you got, and then have it just fed right into the important people as it gets elevated or as people are qualified or as calls are being booked. So you need to scale up your sales or the people kind of overseeing the operations.
That's interesting. So even when you remove the call handling constraint, you still need to invest in hiring, but the focus shifts to closers and operations experts because they're the ones who drive growth. Once the routine work is automated, scaling ad campaigns and feeding leads directly to the team becomes much more efficient. For a business owner who's at capacity, phones ringing, team stretched, hiring is expensive and slow. What does the first week actually look like when AI takes routine calls off their plate?
Very relaxing, and also nitpicking on the language of the AI. We always love to put in as much as we can or train them off the scripts, but there's always some information that's just their learned domain knowledge that you don't really get at first, which is great because everyone can just kind of come into our dashboard and have the agent updated or shoot us an email with any tweaks, and we always have updates out as quickly as possible for everything, usually within 24 hours, if not, 2 or 3.
So it's a mix of relief and fine-tuning. The first week brings a sense of calm as routine calls are offloaded, but there's also a focus on refining the AI's language because there's always domain-specific knowledge that emerges, and the ability to quickly update the AI with tweaks within 24 to 72 hours ensures it stays aligned with the business needs. That's powerful. As we wrap up, Connor, any final thoughts for business owners considering the shift? What should they keep in mind as they start to rely on AI for call handling?
I think that it's obviously not perfect, but as you guys can hear from just this call, it's come a long way and it can really help in your business. And there's a lot of unexplored opportunities with it for business owners to integrate it. All of this type of technology used to be unattainable to the everyday man, and now you can have it for as little as $69 a month.
That's a great point. The technology has come a long way and is now accessible to businesses of all sizes at a price point that's affordable It's about exploring those new opportunities